don't hear nothing, Alicia. In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Neter, oracles, scriptures, and writings that came thousands of years before any organized religion on the continent of Africa. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, assalamu alaikum. To my people in the streets, what's good to you? To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. And to my Black conscious family, hotep. This is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Before we get into this much anticipated, much needed interview with our dear queen here, just a couple community announcements. If anyone has a community event going on here in the local area or abroad, because the Hour of Power is spreading, inbox me and we will make it known so we can support events going on here in the city and abroad, as long as it's lifting the mind, body, and soul of our people. Tomorrow night at 8:15 on Facebook Live, yours truly will have a quick talk about the Bill Cosby crisis going on. I will give my analysis on it, so that'll be at 8:15 on Facebook Live. Tune in. The Hour of Power will address what's going on with Bill Cosby. And again, if anyone has any community events, I don't know any off the top of my head, please let us know, and we will announce it. Coming up in October, it will be Women's Month. But as we know nationally, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But here on the Hour of Power, we are going to dedicate that month to the women. We already have some guests, some sisters lined up to come and speak about women. So look forward to those messages in the month of October. But on the Hour of Power and on my podcast, October will be Domestic Violence Awareness Month and Women's Month. As y'all know, we have been speaking heavy on the protection of Black women on our show, the value of them as our queens, and sexual abuse and different things. So in honor of those who have been victimized by domestic violence, sexual abuse, and sexual assault, before we get into this quick interview, I just want to open up with a prayer in honor of them and anyone who has been disrespected or victimized in any way, whoever they are. So in your own prayer, in your own way, pray along with me. All praises belongs to God. You are the healer of memory, experience, body, intellect, and spirit. Only healing that comes from you leaves behind no ill. We ask special mercy and compassion upon those who have been victimized, disgraced, and have survived. Deliver them, God, from the grips of human and institutional oppression, as well as the internal triggers that try to make them feel guilty or see themselves as less than you created them to be. Be to them the soothing balm that eases their pain. Grant them justice and peace. Remind them of their high value and worth to you. Surely you are the mighty, the wise, and the render of justice. Hear us as we call unto you and you alone. Admonish the evildoers and bring them to justice. Amen. So again, this is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. All those out there and here in the studio, I want you to do something with me real quick. When I point like this, I just want you to say, she is. Okay? So everyone out there listening, whether you're in New York, Chicago, right here in York, when I make the point like that, I just want you to say loud, black, and proud, she is. Are we okay with that? And the people here, you can give me a response. Okay, y'all ready? Okay.
She is.
She is. Wheezy from the Jeffersons.
She is.
She is. Florida Evans from Good Times.
She is.
Carol Brady from the Brady Bunch.
She is.
She is Vivian from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
She is.
All right. And she is Marion Givens from 227.
She is.
One more time. She is. She is a nurturer, a provider, a protector, a mother, a wife, a grandmother, a counselor, a sage, and all the above, and a shining example of a queen. So without no further ado, I want to introduce to you Miss Mary Harris. Can you introduce yourself? Sit up and introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you were born and how you were raised, and we're going to get this rolling. And get your pencil and paper out there, young ladies, because you're going to learn today.
That's right.
Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Hello, everyone. Just so happy to be here. So happy that this little friend of mine I've known for years. My name is Mary Harris, and they came from Delta, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Would have lived in Europe for about 54 years. Let me go.
Yeah, go on.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents were Harvey J. Jones and Anna Bessie Pico Jones. And to that union, there were 7 girls and 4 boys, 11 children. And my mother was just a housewife. My father was always a good worker. And he had hard times because he had to work. He had to walk baby 4 or 5 miles to work in the morning. He'd leave before daylight, wouldn't get home till after dark. Mm-hmm. And my mother, she wasn't really able to work. And I went to Brinesville School. It was divided between sliding doors. There was 1st to the 4th grade on one side, and on the other side was 4th to the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. Was it segregated?
No, it was not segregated.
Wow.
Everyone asked me that, but it was a big school.
And that was in Delta?
That was in Brinesville.
Okay.
Which is about maybe 4 or 5 miles from Delta.
Okay.
But then we never had an opportunity to go to high school. The only high school they had was Delta. Mm-hmm. And they had no transportation to take the children where we lived to the high school. But we knew a few people that did go to Delta High School. And it was kind of segregated because when they got their diplomas, they couldn't walk across the stage.
You mean the blacks couldn't?
The blacks couldn't walk across the stage.
Okay, so Delta High School was segregated.
Delta High School was. Now, the blacks could go there, but when time come to get to diplomas, they would mail them to them.
Now, what about the normal interaction with school? Was that segregated? Like, were you in a classroom with a white person?
No, yes, we were all together.
Oh, okay.
Black and white were mixed. Yes.
So why did they wait to the degree part?
But
you don't know?
No, I didn't know why they did that. But it's like we say we had no transportation to Delta, which was about 10 miles from where we lived.
Mm-hmm.
So I really never had a chance to go to high school.
Wow.
But God gave me the courage. My mother and father gave me the learnings to be the person I am today.
Right.
And I just thank them for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had no facilities. We had outside toilets. We had carry water, cut wood. But trying to think.
And how many brothers and sisters did you say you had?
7 sisters and 4 brothers.
Wow.
7 sisters and 4 brothers.
Uh-huh.
Still 5, still 7 of us living.
Uh-huh.
But I wouldn't say we had a rough time because we had a good mother and a good father provided for us.
Mm-hmm.
But we just didn't have all the facilities they have today.
Right.
And all the, like each kid has their bedroom today.
Mm-hmm.
We had to sleep maybe with 3 or 4 in a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
2 beds in a room with 2 kids in each bed.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, excuse me, Miss Harris, my boys are here in the studio tonight. Did y'all hear that? Y'all hear that? So you sitting there laying up in your bunk bed. I want you to remember what Miss Harris said. You got it good.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
Did y'all have bunk beds back then?
Yeah,
No
yeah,
such
well,
thing?
even my children were coming up. We had bunk beds because
Mm-hmm.
we had 8 children, and we had 2 sets of bunk beds in 2 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to double up in their beds. That was like years later after I came to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first electricity we had.
Right. Now, did you live in a rural area or was it like a farmland?
It was a rural area, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of farmland.
Okay.
So my
Mm-hmm.
dad, after he would come home for work, like in the summer, he would still go help the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot of work. We had to cut wood, care water, wash on the washboards. But God seen us through. I mean, and all of us children got along good.
Mm-hmm.
My mother and father were really good parents.
Mm-hmm.
Even though my mother was a good church member, Daddy went sometimes. But then there used to be a man that picked us up every Sunday morning, even if our mother didn't go. Lady picked us up and take us to Sunday school.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in Delta.
Mm-hmm. Miss Harris, quick question for you. Back to about your high school. So nothing ever changed down the line where you guys could get your diploma?
Well, yeah, you could get your diploma, but you couldn't walk across the stage.
Oh, you couldn't walk across the stage.
Yeah, you could
oh,
get your
okay.
diploma, and if you had a way to get there, but we had no cars, so we had no way to get to high school.
But you had it.
Yeah.
It's just you couldn't
Yes.
have the
Right.
pleasure of walking.
Pleasure walking across the stage.
Okay.
And what else was I going to say? But
Can you tell us how you eventually ended up here in York? Or unless it's something in the middle you want to fill in, it's up to you.
well, we ended up here in Europe because after we got married, my husband started driving truck. And
Well, wait a minute, that's my brother there. You're gonna have to tell me how you, may he rest in peace, Mr. Mick.
yes,
You gotta tell me how you met him. You can't skip that part.
oh, I
Yeah.
met him
Uh-huh.
when I was just a kid. We
Wow.
grew up together,
Uh-huh.
and
In the
Daddy-
town that you
and
was telling me about?
He lived in Woodbine,
Woodbine.
which was about maybe about 5 or 6 miles from where we lived.
So how did y'all meet if you didn't have no transportation?
Well, we would see each other at church, or we just.
Did
our
your
family-
parents know about that?
Sometimes they did, because he was. Because he was a little bit older than I was. I think he was like 8 years older than me.
Oh, Mr. Mick, okay.
And then so my sister and I married brothers. My two sisters married 2 brothers.
Uh-huh.
So it's like we knew them all of our life, though. His mom and dad, and
Oh,
dad
okay.
had a farm
Mm-hmm.
that they lived on, and he worked on a farm. And then I guess he went to service back in 50.
Mm-hmm.
He came out in 52. We wasn't really. We was kind of dating and writing letters to each other then.
Wow.
But after he came home,
Wasn't no cell phones and text messaging
no,
then.
there wasn't.
Yeah.
After he came
Well-
home, we got together, and I guess about 2 years later, we were married.
Wow. What age was that y'all got married?
I was 19. He was 26.
Wow. Uh-huh. And y'all got married there in
We got
Woodbine?
married. Yeah, we got married in Bel Air, Maryland,
Wow.
which was about maybe 25 or 30 miles, because we knew the preacher that
Okay.
married my sister and her husband.
Mm-hmm.
So we got married at our my sister-in-law and brother-in-law's house.
And his parents and your parents, they
And,
talked, and
yeah.
everyone
Oh,
was
yeah.
cool with it.
Yeah, they knew
Mhm.
they knew each other. My parents and his parents knew each other all their life.
Right.
So we knew the kids when they were.
Now, did he have the same struggle in high school that you did, or was his was different?
Yeah, he did. No, anybody that lived out of the country couldn't get to high school unless they had transportation.
Wow.
Now he had a sister. I think out of all his family, it was like 9 or 10 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and he had one sister that graduated from Dallas High School because she caught the train. They was lived where the farm was. There was a train right through where they lived at.
Mm-hmm.
So she would catch the train every morning to school. So she got her diploma.
Excuse me.
And,
Excuse me, Miss Harris.
Okay.
Hey, man, this is very deep. What she's sharing. If you want to call in, make a comment, or anything encouraging, the call-in number, Sister Alicia will cycle it, 717-846-5067. 717-846-5067. If you want to call in and make a comment. All right.
And then when we went to school, we had to walk to our bus stop, which is about, I'd search for you, say that was about maybe 6 or 8 miles to get on a bus.
Uh-huh.
And if we missed that bus, you had to keep on walking to your school, which is
Wow.
about another 5 or 6 miles.
Wow. So y'all got y'all exercise in.
Yes,
Mhm.
we did.
Mhm.
But yeah, we had to. Then we'd have to.
Mhm.
We'd usually get up in the morning, and I'd have to tell my mother because she was like in a wheelchair, and we'd have to
Mhm.
get the other younger kids at home, prepare their breakfast, prepare something for my mother for lunch. And we come home in the evening, then we'd have to start carrying the water and cutting the trees down and
Right.
cutting up wood for the fire, which was my brothers and sisters and I.
Mhm.
Because my dad was like always working, and he had to stay in York sometimes because he had no transportation to get from the country to York.
Mhm.
So it's like I say, we had no inside tools, no bathroom, no water. or
Almost like
anything.
an outhouse.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
outhouse. Then we had to carry water from the spring,
Mm-hmm.
wash our clothes on the washboard.
Mm-hmm. No Maytag washer and dryers back then.
Well, towards the end.
Oh,
That
okay.
was that was years later that we had it run by gas, Maytag washer.
Wow.
But it
You
still had no electric.
Uh-huh.
So we had to cook on a cook stove, no matter how hot it was in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, how cold it was in the winter. We had to get up and start the fire.
Right.
And in the summertime, you had to keep the fire burning.
Mm-hmm.
Put the old irons on the stove, heat them up.
Mm-hmm.
But through it all, God
Yes.
seen us through.
Right.
The
You wanna
father that I had. And
you wanna tell us how you started your family here in York?
Well, we back in we moved to York in 50. It was in 52.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was pregnant with my oldest child.
Uh-huh. And your oldest is
Is Sequenda.
okay.
She's
Okay.
63 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So we've been
Oh.
married 65 years. Coming up October.
That's one of my buddies, Miss Clinda. I don't know. Told her age on national TV, but that's all right, Miss Harris. You're Miss Harris.
Yes. So then we moved up here because my husband was a truck driver. He was, too far to drive every day from where we lived at to York. So we decided to move up here, and we've been here ever since, I guess, about 53 years
Mm-hmm.
in the same house
Wow. On
on Kurtz Avenue.
on Kurtz Avenue. Right.
Kurtz Avenue.
Before you go further with your explaining your family, you remember when I used to come to your house?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say, I remember, I used to always call him Little Eric.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it's like we see there's a lot of children see me now.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Harris, don't you remember me? We used to
Mhm.
come to your house.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I must have treated them all right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes, but I
So
remember
remem-
a lot of the children, and everyone was, and back then the children were so polite. They
Right.
appreciated it. What
Mhm.
you gave, if you even had a sandwich, you had something to give them.
Mm-hmm.
They thank you, and really,
That-
back in them days,
that-
they
that-
had real manners.
Yeah, that's what I really wanted your wisdom and
Yes.
and insight on is the way the community was.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
back in those days and
Right.
how
How
it
it's-
changed
how
how it
it's
changed
changed
now. But you said you remember me, right?
Yes.
Now tell the truth. When I used to come to the house, did you think that I would ever leave?
Why did you-
Because it's a difference when you come to someone's house with a book bag and you start coming to someone's house with a suitcase. Like, wait a minute. Wait, your mom said Friday and Saturday. What's the suitcase about?
Well, I didn't care. As long as you were a nice kid. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh-huh.
you one of the most little gentlemen
Right.
that I ever met.
Yeah.
That's what all the kids say when they come to me. Miss Harris, don't you remember you used to come to your house all the time?
Mm-hmm.
Now I look back and say, then they tell me their name.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, yes, I remember. They said, well, we remember you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you say now, people don't usually, I don't know what's going on. I guess it's the younger generation. And like so many grandparents are raising grandchildren now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the, their mom and dads are not together.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think
And-
that has a lot
and,
to do with it too. Just kind of,
I know. I just can't thank you enough, and your family for open up your doors the way
yes.
way you did. We were on Maple Street, but we were
Right.
just right up
Right.
the block there. Actually, when I came to talk to you the other day, I was a little nervous. I said, I hope Miss Harris don't ask me for child support as much I was at her house to talk to my mom about that.
I was calling you Eric.
Yeah.
Yes. But you were,
but,
you were a
but I wanted to thank your family, because all y'all always made me feel welcome. I mean,
Yeah.
all your children, even your grandchildren, everyone made me feel welcome. Probably that's why I always, came back
Yeah.
with the suitcase, so everyone made me feel welcome. I never felt, like I was an outsider.
Yes.
And I don't know what happened to that vibe. And
Right.
another thing I want to commend you and your family on was remember the Sterners next door?
Yes.
Now, am I right? Because Miss Harris' children is here. They were the only white family on that block, right? And y'all always made them, feel welcome. I mean, they were right next door, and I used to look at it kind of funny. It's like, man, they're the only, white
Yeah.
family that I knew of on the other end going
yeah,
towards
right.
McKinley.
Right, there
But
was
I never knew who they were. But
Yeah.
I mean, they were right next door. Of course, their
sure.
children was me, Leroy, and Tyson's age, and they felt just. Right, they felt just as much at home as anyone. No one looked at them and said, they don't belong here or nothing, and they were right there with you the whole time. Now, when they came, do you remember when they came there? Did you reach out to them first, or did they come knock on your door? How did that happen?
I usually like if the new neighbors moved in,
Mm-hmm.
I'd always go and welcome them in, and if they need anything, not hesitate to come
Mm-hmm.
and ask, or if they want to know something.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what, we were just never taught to treat people mean or anything.
Mm-hmm.
We were brought up in a good manner that,
Mm-hmm.
treat people the way you want to be
Mhm.
treated.
Now, is that something you directly taught your children? Because, like I said, all of them. And I'm not just saying that because y'all are here. Is that something you directly taught them about? Welcoming everyone, or is that just something they picked up from seeing you and your husband, or did you directly teach that to
Yes,
them?
well, it's both. I think
Mhm.
we picked that up from, it's like my husband. He'd welcome anybody in his house.
Mhm.
Feed anybody that come to the house.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody needed food or a sandwich or something, he'd have a sandwich, he'd cut it in half and give it to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just, he was such a good father and a good husband.
Yes.
Father,
Yes. And the lack of cohesiveness in not just there, but almost any black community you go to. I don't know what happened. That's why it's so valuable to have you here. And again, if anyone wants to call in, 717-846-5067. I'm just moving back here to York, and I live in a development a little bit, and I see this guy. He lives like right next door. And one day I was like, this is ridiculous. I said, hello. I said, I'm your neighbor.
Right.
You know, it's like now,
Yes.
no, everyone minds their own business. I mean, it was months, and I said, this is ridiculous. And I finally said something to him, and he was nice, but if I wouldn't have said nothing, he probably wouldn't have said nothing, you know, to me. Like, what do you think happened where everyone is just mind their own business?
Yeah, it's like you say, even the children are not like they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the, I guess, the manners and things. Like say, you come to my house,
Mm-hmm.
you was a real little gentleman.
Right. And I felt welcome. Mm-hmm.
From your, like, you know, from young up.
Mm-hmm.
But now, you know, some of these kids, you see them, that's what I'll speak to them or something. Act like,
And the disrespect in front of a dog.
Yes.
We used to be up and down the block, and if we even thought you or Mr. Mick was on the porch, if we was using some, you know, inappropriate language, you was like, shh. Now, you know, children will walk right by you and say cuss words, won't speak.
And the radio's blasting and all kinds of music on them. And it's just, yes, it's changed since we have moved here.
Now, did you have a certain consequences if children was disrespectful with your children? I don't think children and youth is listening, so you can. Eric is looking over there like, oh, God. Flashbacks, huh?
Oh, they probably, they probably have me in jail now.
What was the, you know, compared to what you see now, and like, you know, small things, well, people think small now, but you were pretty strict on respect and respecting.
Respected other people. Yes, like
so could someone else in the community discipline your children? Was it like that?
Yes, if they need it, yes. Yes.
You didn't have no problem with it?
No problem with it. If they needed discipline, was doing something they shouldn't be doing, I was happy that they disciplined them.
Right, that's only common sense, because that's another set of eyes on your children, because children are going to do things, you know, they live and learn, and to me it seems like it's only common sense for another set of eyes, another caring heart to be in the lives of your children. But now people are like, don't touch my child, and I actually disrespect the adult when they know the child is wrong.
Yes, that's what they say now. People go to school, but, you know, get mad at the teachers because they want to affect the kids. And it's like, say, you can't touch them no more. We had a paddle. We had a paddle at our school.
Oh, you mean back in
back in the days?
Wow.
She had a little paddle,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you done something wrong, you went home. You could tell your mom, your dad.
And they paddle you in front of everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get it again.
Wow.
Yes.
No children and youth involved. Was there even a children youth services back then? Was it? I think it was, but
I think it was, but I don't think it's like it is now.
Right.
Yes.
Well, if you even raise your voice at a child now, they can file charges on you.
How about that? But you know what?
So you got paddled back
I
then.
think you never get too old for me to do what I have to.
Now, did that kind of discipline? Did that seem to keep everyone in check? Did that seem to work?
That seemed to work pretty good. I mean, like all my kids were pretty. One of them really didn't get out of, you know, like out of bounds or something, because they listened to their dad. They listened to me, and well, I corrected more than their dad did. They liked when Daddy was there.
Yeah, your husband was always soft spoken. Yeah.
They liked when their dad was there. Sometimes I'd get a little.
Also, you were the disciplinarian.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Eric, you having flashbacks over there. You all right?
Oh yes. They liked when Daddy was home.
Wow.
He would never take a little switch. I'd grab a switch in a minute. I mean, if they was doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, and I told them, you know, not to do it, well, I'd get a little switch. It didn't hurt them. They're all still living, all except Greg. I mean, Phil. But that little switch didn't hurt them at all.
Right. Unbelievable.
Like
how times have changed.
How times have changed.
Now, what changes did you see? Because how long? You said you moved on Kurtz Avenue in 52?
Been here. We were there 53. Holesfield. Not Field. Devano. We moved there. Devano was a baby. 53. 50
Wow.
years. We moved there in Nirvana as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
First, we lived on South Street.
Mm-hmm.
Then we moved out in the Parkway Projects.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved from there to where we're at now.
Oh, okay. When you what was going on when you started seeing all the togetherness? Like we were all together. Like we were up on Maple Street.
Right.
You had the Michaels there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mr.
Yes.
Smallwood,
All the
and you had all the
neighbors.
Kirklands.
Right.
We were all
Yes.
tight. Then you had the Stokes down
down
on
on
Jessup.
the corner.
Like
Jessup.
what did you start seeing how the neighborhood changed? Did you
Yes.
start noticing it? Like
Yes.
this ain't the way it used to be, or
That's
did it
right.
kind of
Yes,
hit
yes.
you? Like what things did
Yes.
you start changing from when we were
That's
coming
right.
up?
But everybody, I mean, our neighborhood hasn't got real bad yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like it used to be.
Right.
It's like some.
How did you start notice it changing? Like what things did you see?
Well, when people, I was trying to think when people started moving out and different people
Oh,
moving in.
right. It wasn't the
And I
stability
think
wasn't
there's
there.
One family there, and we was there. What's the name of?
Wow, just one.
Down at the corner. What's her name? Knobs. Knobs.
Uh-huh. Is that going towards McKinley? That
No,
that?
it's right down on the.
On Jessup. Wow.
Second house. They're still there.
Mm-hmm.
But it has, I mean, it's a lot of people have moved. Which I'll say it's not really too bad yet. Not like some of the, the streets are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the old neighbors are not like they used to be.
Yeah, someone made a comment, said bring corporal punishment. Yeah, it's kind of harsh. Guess they talking about the belt. Yeah, when you were talking about that. Uh-huh. Now, what school did we have Tamiko here in the audience, and my brother Eric. What schools did they go to, and how was that experience? Was McKinley
McKinley
there? Is that what school they went to?
They went to McKinley.
Uh-huh. And how now segregation was over by then, right?
Yeah,
It was
it was over
regular
by then.
schools. So how was your experience with them? Did you have to go up to the school, or were they just doing what they needed to do?
Not too much. I'd go for you a couple times, didn't I?
Hey,
Just a couple times. Not nothing serious.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you remember, but I know one time the teacher had chosen me and another black girl to make a cotton field
Uh-huh.
out of clay and cotton balls.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you going up to the school and telling the teacher that she could have chose anyone else other than my daughter and this other black girl.
Black girl.
I do remember her going to school for that.
Right.
Because I told my mom I knew something wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went to Hennepin.
Mm-hmm.
That was a second.
Now, could y'all get paddled in school when you were in school?
No, they sent paper home. You send
Mhm.
paper home.
Mhm.
Mom would sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Mom ain't she signed it.
Mhm.
You don't get paddled in school.
Wow.
And then when you get
Yeah.
home,
Mm-hmm. And that's our sister Alicia that said that. Bring corporal punishment back. Hey, Alicia, what's going on with you over there?
That's where our school was.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Hinesville, the teacher had a paddle there.
Mm-hmm.
But we'd always start in the morning. First thing we would do, someone would read the Bible.
Wow. And they took prayer out of school.
Yes, out of school.
What would you think of that? Now, were most of your children out of school when they
Yeah,
made that?
they were out of school.
Uh-huh. That was like in the 80s or
Yes,
something when they
back
did
in
that.
the country. First thing the
Mhm.
teacher would do, then we would say the Lord's Prayer,
Mm-hmm.
pledge allegiance to the flag.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing we had to do was we had to read books.
Mm-hmm. Now, you talking about at home or in
That
school?
was at school.
Oh, okay.
Whatever
Mm-hmm.
grade was in,
Mm-hmm.
first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade, you had to read 8 books and then you had to give a
Mhm.
report on each book that you
Wow.
They
Mhm.
give you time, to read them, then you had to report.
Mm-hmm. Quick question for you, Miss Harris. It's getting kind of deep, but I know you can. I know you can handle it. Do you know, up on Cottage Place? Do you know the Mohammeds, Sister Shahida and Brother Salim? Their children, they're a Muslim family. Their children is about my age.
Know where they live?
They lived up on the corner of Cottage and Manor.
Cottage and Manor.
Uh huh.
Be Billets.
Yeah, tall, light skinned guy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
He moved away from there.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Billets.
Now the college students have it. They had a big house there, but I was and they did a lot to helped me along, just like you helped and had a huge contribution in raising me. So today, and recently I was talking to Sister Shahida, and we were just talking about some things, and she said that black women in this age, this kind of era, have lost their way, and we were kind of relating it to relationships and marriage and the way they get along and respect men and women, men. I wanted your professional, I believe you're a professional at marriage. What do black women need to do better to respect and honor their husband? And then what do you think black men need to do better? Because I want everyone to understand, you were married for how long?
We'd have been married 65 years.
Oh my gosh. Man, everyone out there send a heart sign, a black fist sign. 65 years. I know some people don't stay married for 65 seconds.
Right,
Well, maybe not
right.
that fast.
And I don't think we really ever had
All that money
a
and
fight.
5 months later. God, oh my. 65
I don't
years.
think we ever had a fight.
Unbelievable. So can you give us your opinion on that? What do black women, because I thought when Sister Shahida said that, I was like, wow. Not that I was trying to be hard on black women. She said they have lost their way. Can you give some insight
You mean
on
like
that?
She said that black women have lost their
Yeah,
way.
just the way they interact.
They interact,
What
yes,
you
and the
know,
way
it's some stigmas out there, some
Right,
stereotypes. It
yes.
may be some truth to it. They're hard to get along with and all that. But
Yeah.
I think it was some significance of what
Right.
what she was saying. Can you give some insight on that? From
If they, I don't know, if they would find the right husband,
mm-hmm,
and if he would find the right wife,
mm-hmm,
and they both, have to come in agreement,
mm-hmm.
not all the time,
Right.
but, most of the time. I think that's what's going on today. And now today the women are out, they're making as much money as the men.
Mm.
So sometimes.
You think that causes a problem?
Sometimes I think it does. I
Mm.
think it kind of does cause a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Because
back in our days, not even, I never went to work until my kids were like, pretty well up in age. And then back before my day, when my mother never was coming up, the women seldom never worked.
right.
Stayed
So
at home and took care of the
so the
children.
man
Yeah,
was
man,
that's
yeah.
just how it was back
Yes,
then.
that's how it
A
was.
loaf of bread was like what, 50 cents or something like
Oh
that?
yes, baby.
Mhm.
I think you get a quarter mile, 5 pound of sugar and a loaf of bread for $1.
Wow. Now you go to the grocery store, you gotta put a loaf of bread on layaway. Like
Yeah, you got that right.
man, it's just not the
Yes,
same.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's not the
that's it.
same.
It's not the
So
same.
you said most black women were home. So
Yes.
with that is you were there for the children. You didn't need no
Right,
daycare and
that's
all
right,
that
no
stuff.
daycare, because I never
Mhm.
went to work until, I think, I don't know, I think my youngest was about 4. But
Mhm.
then their dad worked in day, and he was home, and I worked at night.
Mm-hmm.
So when he got home in the evening, I went to work.
Okay.
So
But
they
the
were
children were already self-sufficient and stuff
right.
by
So
then.
they were,
Mhm.
so he come home, and I would,
Mm-hmm.
well, sometimes I'd have like dinner ready. If I wouldn't, they would help their daddy to get dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing we would do. We would all sit down at the table and eat.
Oh, what a lost art.
We'd have 10 of us,
Wow.
4 on each side,
Mm-hmm.
4 kids on each side,
Mm-hmm.
and their dad and me would be at the head of the table. We might
Wow.
have been there
That is a
sometimes. We had-
yeah. I
and
remember that.
You put everything in dishes.
Mm-hmm.
No paper plates.
Wow.
No paper products.
Mm-hmm. Now who was responsible for all those dishes? Doing all those dishes.
Children.
They had it. Oh, y'all had days to do
Yeah,
them.
they had days to do it.
So that's structure within itself.
Right, that's right.
They,
Yeah,
they
had
knew
certain-
their expectation. That
certain
everyone sat down and ate together
Yeah.
every day, pretty much.
Every day.
Wow.
And all the food was put on the table in different dishes,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you had.
And me and Eric, we were just talking about that the other day when we had the children at the park. That one person eating this time, one person
Right,
eating that
yes,
time,
yes.
going to this restaurant, and
Gotcha,
all
yes,
this and that.
Right, that's
Mhm.
it. Yes.
So you guys didn't go out to eat back in
Oh
those
my
days.
gosh, no,
Very
but
rare.
They might have got a treat. When your daddy worked for the state, you remember we go. Somebody used to have chicken every Monday. And we would take the kids there, maybe once or twice a month. But
Wow.
not
home
time.
home
Yes.
cooked meals.
Home cooked meals. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
We didn't even use the microwaves like they do now.
Mm.
You heat
Wow.
up stuff in the.
Mhm.
Well, it's like say back in the country, you didn't have those, so you had
Mm-hmm.
to reheat everything in a little pan.
Was people now were the children allowed to talk at the table? I know black families laugh about that, like
Yeah.
better not be laughing at the
Yeah,
table
yeah,
while
right.
it's time to eat. Everyone, all you hear is them plates and them
Right,
forks
right.
knocking.
Yes.
Was that a rule or
Well,
Mm.
s-
a little
I
bit?
wasn't allowed to answer the phone.
Oh, okay.
TV was always
Mhm.
on.
so it was kind of a rule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back when you was at the table, you sat there and you ate till you finished.
Mhm.
And when you called them to come to dinner,
Mhm.
you better come to eat.
Right. Where the food gonna be
Food
gone?
gotta be
Because it
gone.
was like 10 of y'all,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 10
Mhm.
or 8.
Wow.
Yes.
And in relationship wise, you said you and your husband, like, how did y'all, go about, like, disagreements as compared to what you see what's going on now? Can you give, the listening audience, yeah, let's frame it that way. Because you weren't married 50 plus 60 some years for nothing. Could you give some advice to the listening audience, those who have a soulmate or married, on advice on how to conflict resolution, how to solve problems without screaming and hollering and
Right. Yes.
throwing the pots and pans that you just cooked with and all that stuff?
Fussing and fighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
and we just sort of kind of agreed, like,
Mhm.
if we seldom ever didn't disagree. I can
Wow,
say one thing.
that's a
about
blessing,
him
man.
he was one that wouldn't usually argue too much with you.
Mhm.
It's like the kids. He'd leave me to do the punishment.
Mm.
He
Mhm.
would never. I don't think he ever used a paddle on him or a stick.
Wow.
I think I was the one.
Mhm.
But he was a real. I would say he was one of the best guys that I ever met.
Right. Well, y'all were before high school sweetheart. I know people say high school sweethearts,
Yes.
but y'all met before high school,
Oh
right?
yes, we met
Mhm.
before high school. It's like I said,
Mm-hmm.
we knew each other's parents. My mom and dad knew his parents.
Mhm.
We knew like all the families.
And if anyone wants to call in, again, the call-in number is 717-846-5067. 717-846-5067 is a call-in number. If you just want to give Miss Harris a shout out. I mean, again, this is a pillar in our community, a shining example. A family woman, a nurturer, a wife, a grandmother, a surrogate mother. Like I said, I was at your house a lot.
Yes.
Sure, you ain't gonna file child support.
No.
Right. All right. I'm
Well,
good.
you
I feel better now.
You know Stony. Stony. Andrew. Stony. My buddy.
Oh, Stony Rock.
Stony Rock. Stony
Yeah.
Anderson.
He used to have the
Little Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, Stony was at my house
Mhm.
much as I think he was at home. And
Wow.
He'd come there. Mick would have a sandwich.
Mhm.
Mick would say, "Cut that in half. Give Stony half of it."
Wow. Uh-oh. Someone's calling in. All right, hold on a second. Hour power.
This is James.
Yes.
This is James.
Yes.
Harris.
Okay. How you doing?
Good. I'm her nephew.
Okay. What you got for us, sir?
I was just say about Aunt Targ and Uncle Mick. They was like my parents too, 'cause like she said,
You got.
the two brothers married to two sisters. Can you still hear me?
Yeah. It was a little feedback there, but it sounds good now.
Okay, I got it all. Yeah, the two brothers married to two sisters, and Uncle Mick, he was like my father. He is my uncle. He's like my father. I worked late at night. He would get out of his bed sometimes and take me to work at 11 o'clock at night and make sure I made it to work. And they're good people, and just like my second parents. They really was good people, man.
Indeed. And you're named after Mr. Mick?
Yes, I'm James A. He's James E. That's the only difference.
Wow. Wow.
That's right. That's my uncle.
That's right.
And of course, Aunt Tori, she's that's my mother's one of her favorite sisters. sisters, you know, and
Yes.
they hang out, man. They really do hang out.
Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Hey, Antar, you're doing a good job. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
And you telling them just what it was like coming up from the country and
Yes,
what you had to do to go to school.
that's
Another
right.
thing I want to say about them, Antarg and Mom and Dad and Uncle Mick, they only went to like the 6th,
Yeah.
8th grade.
Right,
They
Mhm.
taught themselves how to balance checkbooks and
Yeah.
how to do all this kind of stuff. Nobody taught them.
Right.
Mm.
And she's right. Mommy was the same way. Them ladies didn't go to work until their youngest child,
That's right.
Eric on Antarg, and Roger on my mother's side, till them kids was in school. Then they went to work.
Yes.
And that's how it was back then.
Yes, that's how it was back in the days.
Yes.
Yes.
So I just want to add that little bit to you. And
Yeah.
keep up the good work, sir. I like what you're doing too, sir. I missed the last show you had, but I got you from now on.
And
All right, you
know
can-
your mama's my sweetheart.
I know that. All right, Antarg, I love you.
All
Love
right.
you, honey.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. So
That's
once
that's my older sister. She's 93.
oh, you was telling me about her the other day.
Still dancing.
Wow, still dancing
She,
and
she
moving.
had 10 children. She
Okay.
had, 8 boys and 2 girls. She's lost 4 of hers now.
Wow.
And grandchildren. She's lost 3 or 4 grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she's still going
Never
strong.
fail.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's
Wow, this is I hope people are, learning about. If you don't get anything out of this interview, and it's a lot to get, is the importance of togetherness of
Yes,
family,
together,
and
yes.
we can bring that back. I know people are busy and people are
Yes,
working,
yeah.
but with all these, like you said, distractions. I like what Eric said earlier about you couldn't answer the phone. Now we got so many distractions, and I even fall into it. Sometimes we'll be all in the room, but it's like we're somewhere else.
Right.
Like the wife will be on the phone, the boys on their electronic gadgets,
Yeah.
and we're not paying attention,
Attention to what's
to
going
each other. Then before you know it, you got to go to work or to
Right.
school, and
Yes,
I
that's
think
right.
that's how some of that,
That's right.
togetherness.
So many different attractions now to take your attention away from
Right.
even thinking sometimes.
Hmm.
Yes.
Right. So definitely that, and that just needs more light needs to be shined on. You being with your husband over 50 years, 5+ decades. That's just amazing. We hear we these horror stories about people not staying together, and y'all stayed together, and it was just a pillar, and it was just great to see. Even when I couldn't conceive it all, being so young, I was just used to seeing you and Mr. Mick. If I would have came there, and other than him being at work and he wasn't there, I'd have been like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
what's going
Because that's what we were used to seeing. So
Yeah.
you were teaching without being at the blackboard. Your husband was teaching, the boys. You were
Right.
teaching the girls and cross.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Just by y'all, being together,
Yes.
all that time, we need
Yeah.
that.
That's what Jim said. We never even got a chance to go to high school.
Mm-hmm.
And like Mick, he could sit down. Anybody wanted to know to go from here to California, New York,
Mm-hmm.
he would sit down. The old maps you used to have.
Right.
He would
No
map it.
GPS.
No, he would map it out and take it right to where they was going.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like you say, to drive a truck, you had to,
Right.
But it's like you say, only gone to the 6th, 7th grade.
Wow. So I thought you actually. So you only went to the 6th, the 8th grade. Oh, when you were saying earlier about you couldn't walk the stage, I thought you meant you went all the way.
No,
Uh-huh.
no, that was my sister-in-law. She went there, and then some people that lived down in. You ever hear Colton Down? It's a little
No.
place down in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Now some of them people went there. There
Wow.
wasn't never too many black children. Maybe it'd be doing good if you have a dozen. That went
Wow.
To that
Mhm.
school. Yeah.
Wow. And so the skills that you would normally learn in the later grades, you just kind of
Right.
picked. Did y'all teach each other?
Yes.
Did y'all get tutors or something? Or you just kind of?
No,
Wow.
no, we just kind of. I guess just gave us
Just self-taught.
knowledge and
Mhm.
yes, just to
Mhm.
do.
Uh-huh. All right. Someone else is calling in for you. Yeah. Yes. Our power.
Hello.
Yes.
I like to talk.
Yes. Who we speaking with?
Gregory Harris.
Oh,
That's what I said.
that's just. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. Well, we got your beautiful mother on here. What you got to say, bro?
I just want to say that we was raised so proper. You know, my father and mother, they gave us whatever they could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like me and my brothers, it was like my father, we went hunting, we went to the mountains, we went camping. On
That's right, I
Fridays,
forgot that.
a lot of times we wasn't allowed to go to the little parties and things like that.
Mm.
We would load up the car and we went camping on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now as I look back, it was the most beautiful thing we could have did with growing up.
That's right.
You know?
Right. Everyone together.
We had a beautiful family.
You sure did.
We still are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I remember you, Eric.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I remember.
I was a little older than, I was kind of out there. I got kind of like, when you guys was around,
Mm-hmm.
but I had fun.
Right.
With my family.
Well, like I said earlier, everyone always made me feel welcome. I'll never forget it. I'll take it to my grave. Y'all could have easily said, man, take your little narrow behind back up there on Maple Street, taking up our space. But everyone always made me feel, welcome. And I thank all of y'all. And, I saw this kind of in a dream the other night. A lot of times I've been shutting that TV down. And I'll just start, meditating, and your whole family just came to my mind. And right away, that morning, it was last Saturday morning, I said, man, I'm going to get a hold of Eric. And I got a hold of Eric and then Veronica. And I said, I really want to make this happen. But I was just meditating, about the show and everything. And y'all came to my mind, and I said, man, I need to make this. I need to make this happen because your mother and your family, y'all deserve this. Y'all deserve this because y'all have been a pillar and a shining example of what a family should be there in that neighborhood for years. And rest in peace to your father. He was a wonderful man. He should be smiling right now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. You still on, brother? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, she raised my two sons.
And they're good gentlemen.
Right. Well, like we said, a mother, a grandmother.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
we love them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, growing up to be nice young men.
Okay. I'm not gonna take up too much time. Love you, mommy.
All right. Appreciate you calling in, bro.
Love you, honey.
Thank you. Love you too, Eric.
All right. Thanks,
Come
bro.
to our family reunion this year.
Oh, no doubt. I remember y'all used to go down to, what was it, Muddy Run? That's it. I remember. Yeah.
Second
Yeah.
Saturday in July.
Wow. Y'all still
First
do that?
Yes.
It was banging food down there,
First
too.
Saturday in July. I'll remind you. Eric remind you. Bring your family.
Yeah. Y'all still go down there. I remember that, man.
See, that's tradition. We've been going down there for 40 years, every
Wow.
year
Mm-hmm.
or longer.
And we're also having a Christmas dinner
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
December the 2nd.
That's always the
First Saturday in December.
First Saturday in December.
Mhm.
At the Salvation Army.
Wow.
So you're welcome if you want to come.
We've
Bring
been
your
down
family.
there for 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember going down to
Yeah,
Muddy Run.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You probably just-
all the good food and the open field.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we still have it still down there. I mean, a lot of the old people have died off, but
Uh-huh.
some of the young ones are taking over.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Jackson just on
Huh?
Kevin Jackson.
Yeah, Kevin. Yeah, he said hi to Miss Harris. Yes.
Love you, Miss Harris.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
They used to live around the corner from us.
Yeah. They were up on the other end of
On the other
Maple.
end of Maple
Uh-huh.
Street.
Yeah, we were all family there. You know.
Yes.
One thing I was going to say, when you took my husband and wives, one thing about my father, he didn't discriminate with what housework he was going to do.
Hmm.
He did not
Mhm.
discriminate. It didn't take anything from him to wash clothes and dry clothes and fold them. It didn't take anything from him to make mashed potatoes, fried chicken, and the corn.
He didn't just say, "Oh, the woman should do that."
Right.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
No,
Yeah.
there was nothing that she did that he wouldn't do.
wow. Well, that's
So I think
that's
that was like that even.
that's teamwork. That's the true definition of
Yeah,
teamwork.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, because
What?
he could cook. Well, the kids always wait on his fried chicken.
Yeah, right,
Mhm.
When I was going, we'll wait till Daddy gets home with fried chicken.
Mm.
But he could make soups, anything.
Mm-hmm. And
Yes,
and
yes, sir.
so we got about 5 minutes left. I wanted you to touch on real quick something that Mr. Kirkland touched on last week. Do you remember the race riots there in York? You remember that there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think, what year is that?
That was in '69.
69.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the kids were
Mhm.
too old.
Mm-hmm. Did you
Great.
tell the children to not go to a certain part of town to keep them safe?
Yeah,
And
and I don't think you were I don't think you were very old back then.
Mhm.
I mean, they had to stay in the house at that
I was
time.
like 2 years old when that happened.
wow.
How
So
were
you
you?
don't really remember.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I can remember all the carrying
Was you
on.
real concerned about their safety back
yes,
then?
was
Mhm.
sort of, in fact, I think they even closed to, because see, I worked at, I think they even closed the college there.
Wow.
I worked at, I was at college for about 30-something years. I worked there. and I think
York
that-
College?
Mhm.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yes, yeah, I worked
Mhm.
there.
Your college 38 years?
I worked in the snack bar.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I said. The dad worked in daytime, then I worked at night at
Mhm.
college.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I think they even closed that down during that time.
Tanks going throughout the streets.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Mhm. Mhm. A turbulent time, but we all got through it. Mhm.
Thank God.
Yes,
do it.
uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
So we got about 3 minutes left. Any memories y'all want to bring up? I only got 3 minutes. Tamiko, Eric, want to say anything about your wonderful mother?
No, I just want to say, I tell her all the time, I thank God. They say God knows who your parents are going to be long before you're conceived.
Mhm.
And so I always say, God, how did you choose these two people to be my parents?
Mhm.
How did he know that, I would be such a beautiful person because of having such beautiful parents?
Mhm.
I cannot thank them enough, Eric, because you talk about working in social services, and there's a lot of stuff that happens to children today.
Mhm.
I thank God for my mom and dad for just treating us good, never misused us, never abused us.
Mhm.
But beautiful people, and I always tell people they're the same people out in the world, and they're the same people in the house as they were out in the world.
Right.
They didn't switch up.
Mhm.
They wasn't nice to people out in the community and mean at home.
Right.
That's who they were in and out.
Well, I'm a witness bearer to that. Like I said, I was always at your house, man. Anything you want to say, Eric? You
No, I
good?
just want to thank God for a great mother and father I had. Helps. She always helped with all her kids, grandkids. Like I got a 3-year-old daughter. She, she just loves her to death. So she never turns her back on nobody.
Mhm.
Always got a great, good heart.
Right. Mhm. Well, this is
R.I.P. Mick.
right. This has definitely been one show for the ages. It's an example for those who are trying to have a family. This is it, and we can't thank you enough. And thank you for coming on the show. And it won't be the last time.
Thank you for inviting me, sweetheart.
Mhm. It won't be the last
Call you
time.
my little boy.
Oh yeah, always. Well, this is that.
My little Eric.
Yeah, this is the Hour Power with Brother Sharif. Tune in tomorrow at 8:15 as I break down the Bill Cosby crisis, and we will keep it going. Tune in next week. Thank you.